Doctor by day, astronaut by night. Dr. Kjell Lindgren joins me now. Been on the space station for nearly 5 months, came back in December. You've helped folks here on Earth every day, right, as being a doctor, but how are you helping folks on Earth from space?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, that was the reason that we go to the International Space Station. The reason that we're spending 5 months, 6 months, a year on the space station is to conduct science and research that is helping us extend our presence in the solar system, hopefully onward to Mars, but also to benefit life back here on Earth.
Any experiments in particular that you recall performing that are really part of that?
Well, as you mentioned, my background is as a physician, and so the life sciences research was of particular interest to me. And so we have an ultrasound machine up there that we looked at the eyes, at our hearts, and our blood vessels. We took blood to look at how radiation affects DNA, and we do X-rays before, after our flight to understand how space flight is affecting our bones. All of these things reveal things about living in space, but also basic mechanisms that occur back on Earth. So bone loss, cardiovascular deconditioning, muscle weakening, how the immune system changes and becomes maybe overactive or suppressed. All of those things that we see in space have direct implications for medical care back here on Earth.
So you finished those when you were there, but it'll be a while before. Research takes time, so it'll be a while before we know the results from what you did. But you also got almost immediate results. You grew some lettuce and got to eat that, right?
That's right. So that was one of my favorite experiments. The science was called Veggie, but our crew got to grow lettuce, and then ultimately became the first U.S. crew to get to eat a crop that we had grown in space. I had the great fortune of being the one to take care of the lettuce on a daily basis. So this opportunity to grow a green living plant in an otherwise kind of sterile looking space station, I think, you know, it's kind of like gardening, that there's a benefit to taking care of this living, growing thing on a day-to-day basis. And then ultimately, you know, to get to eat the lettuce, it demonstrated that we can grow a crop and eat it, and I think that has some far-reaching implications for how we might provide food supply to astronauts that are traveling on these long missions like the one that we expect for Mars.
Tastes like lettuce?
It tasted just like lettuce.
All right, that's what we want,
That's
right? So tell us about the Payload Operations Integration Center and how you guys work together, I mean, really to perform all of these experiments.
Absolutely. Well, the Payload Operations Integration Center here at Huntsville is integral to the work that we do on the space station. As I said, the science and research that we do on a daily basis, that's the reason that we're in space right now. The folks that are a part of that team, that larger science team, are based here at the Marshall Space Flight Center. And so they are the ones that help process the science. They work with the principal investigators. They make sure that the procedures are good to go, and then they help us with troubleshooting. And so there are days when I would talk with Huntsville more than I would talk with Houston, and that's not unexpected. We are doing science and research on the space station on a daily basis, and so it was a privilege for me to be a part of the Huntsville team.
You're part of the family now.
Yeah.
Let's also talk about some visiting cargo ships while you were there. I mean, that was a big deal. You get fresh supplies then.
Absolutely. So we had 4 cargo vehicles visit the space station while I was up there, and that was actually at the end of a string of mishaps that we would have. So those cargo vehicles were more important than they even usually are. We had the HTV, the Japanese Exploration Agency's cargo vehicle. We had the orbital ATK Cygnus vehicle bringing up supplies, and that arrived really just a day before our crew returned back to the Earth.
Oh, so you didn't get to benefit from that.
Well, I got to capture the vehicle with a robotic arm, which was absolutely amazing experience. And then we really encouraged the ground folks to help us get the vehicle attached to the space station, and to get the hatch open so that we could dive in, and at least, because we all had care packages on there, and we at least wanted to see those before we left back to the Earth.
But you left at a good time because everyone else had to unload it, right?
That's right, yeah. So we got to enjoy all the fun of docking the vehicle, capturing and docking the vehicle, and then diving in, and then everybody else had to do the work. But that's all right.
Yeah, right, that's okay. So you were here today to talk to a bunch of students, they're probably future rocket scientists building rockets. How do you inspire these young people to do what you've done?
Well, I'm inspired by them. I mean, the opportunity to talk with 800 budding rocket scientists was an amazing experience for me, because I got to look out on that crowd and really see the future of our space program. These are the folks that are going to be building the rockets that take us to Mars and beyond. There are people in this audience that may well be the individual that takes that first step on Mars. And so for me, it was inspiring to be here. I just wanted to share my experience, to let them know that they can make their dreams come true, and to encourage them to really chase after those dreams.
Lastly, a dream of mine would be to be out in space on a spacewalk like you were. Did you just stand out there and go, check me out? I mean, what do you do?
I did not do that, not even once.
You were busy.
We were so busy during our spacewalks, and absolutely amazing experience, and one that I will just forever appreciate. But it's incredibly hard work, and I think you know, we trained for hundreds of hours in our neutral buoyancy laboratory back in Houston to do those very difficult and dangerous activities. So I'm grateful that we had the opportunity, and it was amazing to be able to do it safely, successfully, and then to get back inside.
Want to go back?
I would love to.
All right, we'll see. Thank you for taking the time with us today.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Kjell Lindgren.